So somebody comes on, they've authenticated, they log in, and then they got a free sample, and then say, okay, let's say like that they want to get another generation. And now when you go to generate, it says, wait a minute now, if you want to continue, you have to upgrade to the pro version. So here's all the things that you get: unlimited AI ad generations, stylings, brands, like all the cool, then opportunity upsell. And then you can click on this, and now you get sent to the Stripe landing page. Okay, so we can drop in that sample card. The date can be any date in the future. CVC can be any number. This can be anything. And then any zip code, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then unclick that, and then boom, I subscribe. And then this should automatically take me back to my application. And now you see that I'm listed as pros. Now I have the pro account. Isn't this so cool? Like in an hour or so, I went from a prototype to not 100% of the way there, but pretty close to having a fully like micro SaaS type of application here. So let's test that out. Let's make sure that now like I get the right authentication here. So again, I got the free sample. Then I put up the wall like, hey, no, you can't continue anymore unless you upgrade. And now that they've upgraded, or that I've upgraded, now I've got the pro account, and now it should generate new AI ads for this account. So let's go back here, and then awesome. So yeah, I'm like back up and running. Isn't this so cool? I think this is amazing. Everybody's so eager to talk about Stripe here. I don't think you can overstate how big of a deal this is, and why I'm excited about this. Because one is I have a bunch of apps that I've built, and they're apps that I know I might want to share with other people. And it would be great to monetize. The vibe coding, if you do it enough, gets a little pricey. So it would be great for me to be able to monetize some of the vibe coded apps that I have built. One, gives me motivation and gives me signal that I'm building things that people care about. Two, if it's a tool that is really adding value to people and people pay for it, that's great. They're paying for it, and they're helping me maintain that tool to give me incentive and motivation to be continually getting in that application, making updates, taking care of it, and adding new features, things like that. And the Stripe integration is really helpful on that front. And I think of a couple of different options. If I want to build a storefront onto my application, say I have a site for my local business, I'm selling different things, or I'm doing e-commerce and I'm selling things online, and I have a whole bunch of different things that you can buy, like merch, for example, then I can build a storefront with different pricing, and then have that have a cart of sorts, and have people pick the things that they want to buy, and then automatically check out through Stripe. You can create subscriptions. So like you can create your own micro SaaS applications. And I'll show you an example of how I'm doing this with one of the demos that we built recently. Essentially, like you can, in Replit, you can have an application that tracks the usage for a new user. And then when they reach a certain usage, then you can offer to upgrade them to a newer level of the app. And to manage that subscription, you can use Stripe. One-time payments. We got a couple of builds that we're going to demo for you here. But the idea here is, say that you're doing a one-time service for someone, and you want to bill them for that. You can just write that up, maybe have an invoice app of sorts in Replit, and then like automatically send that invoice to that individual, that buyer. You can sell digital products. You can, and then other ways of monetizing your app. Somebody mentioned creating a Patreon community of sorts for a particular type of creators. You can do that as well. So a lot of really cool ideas that I want you to think about as you're building your applications. And for me, this is like the nice thing about having this Stripe integration and Replit is you're going to get a couple of things. Number one is you're going to get a development sandbox of Stripe in your application. And so what that means is that you're going to have the freedom to explore different ways in which you might want to monetize your application. It's almost like you're vibe coding the monetization part of your application without necessarily having to go and set up a new account in Stripe and do all those things that you might not want to do up front. You might just want to explore. Hey, do I want people to give me like a one-time payment? Or do I want people to subscribe to my application? Or maybe I have different tiered options like for different usages. Or maybe I have it like on a monthly basis or give them like annual plans. The nice thing about this integration is that it's pulling into Agent all of the most recent documentation around the Stripe API. So you don't have to worry about that. You just work with Agent and you're talking with Agent about all the different ways in which you can monetize your application. And then when you're ready, then you go and you claim the sandbox in Stripe and you set up the backend in Stripe and you go into production pretty straightforward. But I think for me, one of the big key takeaways here is that you get to explore what that monetization feature looks like for your application. The other really neat thing here that I'm really pumped about is that this integration not only helps you build out that application, how monetization is going to look on your application, but it creates a real time and persistent sync between Stripe and your app. And so if you have, say, if we go back to that example of the storefront, if you have listed prices on different objects in your storefront and you go to Stripe and you say you want to change the prices, and if you change it in Stripe, the price for an item, it will reflect back in your Replit application. So that type of like sync and that handshake between Stripe and the application, I think is going to like just make it easier to maintain your applications. Let me show you how I've been just getting familiar with this integration. This is a build that we did a couple weeks ago. And the idea is that if I'm selling new merch, so like now I have my new hat here, build mode, and I want to create ads for this merch, like that should be easy to do. So I built an application, I upload my merch, and then I get this ad or an image of somebody wearing my hat, and then I can post this to Instagram ad or an X ad. And I thought this was cool. And then we have some nice features here. And then the next thing that came to mind is how would I monetize this? How would I like make this available for folks to actually like use? And instead of them building this, they can actually just use the service of creating their own ads, and then they can pay me for that. I'll take care of the upkeep and the image generation and all that good stuff. And so what I did is I took this application and I remixed it and I forked it, and then I added authentication. And the nice thing about Replit is it also has native authentication. Authentication is what you use to log into different websites. So when you say you go in, you might want to use your Google account, etc. That's authentication. And I built that. And then Replit also allows you to create a database to track all of the different users. So if I go here to my database, I have new users, it's just one, but I have the prerequisites of what I need to be able to charge someone. I have authentication, so I know who's coming in, who's logging in, and then I have a user database, so I know what level of the application they're in, whether it's the freemium version or the paid version. And so if I go here to the build, and I spent some time last night doing this, now what you'll notice is here I have a new tag here that says one free left. And essentially what that means is that the idea is that this is kind of a freemium version. You come in, you test it out, and if you like it, then you have to pay up and you have to subscribe. So let me generate that, and that's going to take a moment.
Another couple questions here that I'm seeing is, do we add a fee on top? No. So the Stripe fee is the fee that it's like a flat fee. I remember being in the room when we were talking about what that was going to work like, and I was like terrified that we're going to add an additional fee on top. That is not the case. This is just the Stripe fee that is like the standard one that kind of goes out. This is great.
Very cool. All right, so let's go back to this build here. Okay, so now I'm in my SaaS version of this application. I've run one generation. Okay, so somebody comes on, they've authenticated, they log in, and then they got a free sample. And then say, okay, let's say like that they want to get another generation. And now when you go to generate, it says, wait a minute now. Now, if you want to continue, you have to upgrade to the pro version. So here's all the things that you get: unlimited AI ad generations, stylings, brands, like all the cool, then opportunity upsell. And then you can click on this, and now you get sent to the Stripe landing page. And so to test this, grab the documentation here. So Replit docs for Stripe are amazing. Thank you, team, for that. So if you want to test a transaction, you can go here and grab the sample transaction information. Okay, so we can drop in that sample card. The date can be any date in the future. CVC can be any number. This can be anything. And then any zip code 12345. And then unclick that. And then boom, I subscribe. And then this should automatically take me back to my application. And now you see that I'm listed as pro. Now I have the pro account. Isn't this so cool? Like in an hour or so, I went from a prototype to not 100% of the way there, but pretty close to having a fully like micro SaaS type of application here. So let's test that out. Let's make sure that now like I get the right authentication here. So again, I got the free sample. Then I put up the wall like, hey, no, you can't continue anymore unless you upgrade. And now that they've upgraded or that I've upgraded, now I've got the pro account, and now it should generate new AI ads for this account. And again, in Replit, like I've got the database for that. I've got the users here. I'm the user here. You can see that I'm active. I have generation count, so I can see how many images have been generated. And so I think so that's really neat. So let's go back here, and then awesome. So yeah, I'm like back up and running. Isn't this so cool? I think this is amazing. The other neat thing as well is, again, because the Stripe integration is really nicely coupled with Replit, essentially you can bring in all of the Stripe details that the customer has put into your app and bring them into the app. For example, if I want to cancel my subscription, for example, you think, oh, I got to build that out. That's going to be a hassle. Not the case, because of this integration. A user can just go to manage my subscription, and they can see what they're paying, and they can cancel the subscription right here. And they can see like what their invoice history looks like. I don't have to build any of this. This is absolutely amazing. Stripe is handling all of this. This is coming straight from Stripe. So if somebody wants to cancel a subscription, boom, it's all handled here. I don't know. I don't know how this could be easier. This is amazing. I'm so excited about this. I'm going to go back through all my apps. I'm going to think about like, which ones I can monetize, which ones I can go to market with and start advertising for. And I think I'm really excited about this.